Welcome to the demo of the Unwired CILT Pro application. In this video, you will see how the Unwired CILT Pro app helps your operator perform autonomous maintenance tasks like cleaning, inspection, lubrication, and tightening to prevent unplanned downtime and increase asset life. So what you're seeing on my screen right now is the CILT application. And in the CILT application, we have the initial dashboard, wherein we have a summary of the inspections, the CILTs, the faults, and the jobs for a given plant, right? When you click on one of these tiles, you also get a summary of how many you have open, how many you have closed. So all that status is also available on these tiles. So you have the preferences option, wherein if you click on the preferences, you can actually go and change the plant that you're really working in and the plant sections that you're really interested in, right? So this is my information. So you have all the selected plant sections. Once it's selected, I can also select my shift. So this is the plant sections that I have selected, and at the bottom you can also see the shift that I am working in. So this is my user profile. I just go back to my dashboard. What you're seeing here is the most important activities that are planned for me for today, right? So we have 2 jobs that I have to execute, but apart from that, I also have some CILTs and all of that stuff. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, you have the dashboard, you have the rounds, the faults, the jobs, and the assets, right? So we're going to be looking at CILTs to start with. So CILT and inspections together constitutes a rounds tab. So you click on the rounds. So basically, you get a complete summary of all the activities that have been planned for me on Monday. Today is the current date. So these are the different CILTs that I have available for me to work with. So if I click on the different dates on top, if I click on Sunday the 23rd or the Tuesday the 25th, so I see all the CILTs that I have planned for the future as well, right? We have a schedule which runs and generates these CILTs for the days ahead, which is why you're seeing the same CILTs which are created for me in the next few days. Coming back to Monday, which is today. So these are the CILTs that I have. There are certain CILTs which I have created through a schedule, and there are certain CILTs which I can also create ad hoc. So what happens is in this CILT, you have the status, right? So you have the status which says completed for all the CILTs that I've completed, the CILTs that I've accepted after having been assigned to myself. So those show as accepted, and the progress bar indicates 0, which means nothing has been executed. So I'm going to select one of those and then get into it. Let's say pneumatic system maintenance, and I'm going to get into that particular CILT. It'll get me to this screen wherein I have different sections. Okay, so you have 2 sections here, all and open. So my CILT is divided into multiple sections, and each section contains tasks for me to complete. So you have the description of the task, then you have the machine part, which needs to be addressed, the standard, the procedure that needs to be followed, and the methods, some instructions, right? And the tools that need to be used to complete this activity. Now, this is the complete CILT template. So we use the industry best practices to define a CILT. And whenever you design a CILT form, so these are the different components that you have to defining a particular CILT task, right? They may say that, look, this is too much information for me. I do not want all of these sections. I just want to have the description and then maybe the tools that need to be used. That's enough for me. So you can always configure the CILT to have only these 2 show up than all these 4 different sections. So the first task is about for 15 minutes. The next task is for 10 minutes. So you can see that the time is mentioned on the top right, the duration of each task. And if you look at the icon, the CILT, right? Some of them are gray and some of them are colored. That's just an indication that it's a cleaning task, it's an inspection task. If it's colored, it means that is a task, inspection. Visually, we try to tell the user that, hey, this is exactly what you're going to be expecting. Apart from the description that you have, if you also want to support documentation for each particular task, if you click on the task CILT, let's take the first one, you see you have that section that opens up wherein you can add attachments to the task that you are performing. Let's just do a attachment. I'm going to take a picture. And then I attach it to the CILT, and then I can mark it as completed, right? So this is uploading the CILT. You get a thumbnail, and then I can mark it as completed. And then that's about it, right? So I can go on to the next section and then address the next task. What we have is 2 sections, all and open. So as in when you complete a particular task, if you have the open tab selected, the completed tasks keep disappearing from your list so that you can attend to the next open task. Vis-a-vis the all tab, wherein if you click on the all tab, then you can see all the tasks which are completed, which are open and everything, right? So this is the completed task. But if I want to just see the open task all the time, I just move to the open tab and then I'll just work with the open tab, right? Now in this one here, when you select this task, you have the attachment, then you have the comment section. So you can enter comments if you want to take any observations. You can do that. And then we go to the next task. So this is the last task that we have. And while performing this task, let's say we find an issue. So if you find an issue which you have to report, then you can click on the fault indicator, which is at the bottom of your screen. And then if you hit that, then it'll take you to a form wherein you can enter the problem that you've noticed when inspecting this particular machine. You can say, broken pipe or something like that, right? Broken pipe, and then I can say the fault type can be the malfunction. Let's say it's a maintenance, and then priority, I can say it's a medium. And I can say the fault mode. I can choose a failure mode if I want to. I can say it's mechanical failure. So all these are configurable. If you want to add additional details, you can do the additional details. Asset, so the asset is already selected. You have the asset number, so that number is already displayed there. And then you can choose the due on if you want to by selecting a due date. That's optional. You can say that, okay, I want this to be completed by the 31st of next month. And then I can go to the attachments tab and then, take some pictures to describe what the problem is. Yeah, I can take a video as well. This is an attachment, and then I save it, right? So I can do both. So what this does is this creates a fault, and then it gets submitted to the backend. And then I see that this task can now be completed. I can mark this as completed. I just complete it. And then once I've completed, the system identifies that all tasks have been completed. And then it asks me to submit that CILT to the backend. So I hit the submit, and this queues the task, for submission, to the backend. Let's go to the next CILT. Let's go to the cooling and system maintenance. So in this one, we have a total of 11 tasks. And just to make it obvious to you, we have just named it as section 1, right? So that you understand that it's a section. And this section contains multiple tasks. And if you scroll down, you'll get to another section, which contains some more tasks, right? So that's section 1. And this is section 2, right? So you can define your CILT tasks with multiple sections. And let's say, for some reason, you're not able to perform a particular section for lack of availability of that particular equipment. I can skip the entire section and mark that section as not being able to complete. So I select that section. I say equipment down. So let's say if you have a CILT for 3 pieces of equipment, one for each section, you just say that, okay, this equipment is down. I can't do any inspections. I give a reason there. A reason for equipment down. And then I just save this. So that complete section vanishes from my list, right? If I'm in the open tasks. But if I'm in the all sections, I will see that, that section, all the tasks have been marked as skipped because the equipment is down, right? So this is a visual cue to anybody who's actually inspecting the CILT as well. So on the top of your screen, you see it's 4 out of 11. So 4 tasks have been completed. Now the remaining tasks in section 1, I can quickly mark them as complete. So I can go to each task and I can complete it, and I'll quickly close this particular CILT. I'll just complete all of them one after the other, and it's over, done. So then I submit this. So this CILT is completed, right? So this is the CILT part. So wherein you can manage all of these different CILTs. Now, apart from the CILTs which have been scheduled, you may also have a scenario wherein you may want to perform some CILTs ad hoc, right? So you need the ability to also generate these CILTs ad hoc. And then if I hit that plus, then it comes to this screen wherein you have the inspections and the CILT. So we only have CILTs here. So we just go to the CILT section, and then we have these 4 different CILTs that we have. So I can say, let's say I do a pump maintenance or a cooling system general. I do a next. I select the CILT that I'm interested in, and these are all the users which have been configured in my system. So I select one of the users. Maybe I just select myself, and I say next. And then I can set a priority for this CILT. I can say when is this shift, and then I can just create it, and that will create a CILT for me, and it's instantiated immediately, right? So these activities, the ability to create an ad hoc CILT is something which is again configuration. Do we allow any technician to do it, or only the supervisor is able to create an ad hoc CILT and assign it to somebody? So all of these things, are possible. Now, once I've accepted a CILT, so I created it, assigned it to myself, so I've accepted it. But maybe for some reason I'm not able to, execute the CILT, so I can just go and reject the CILT. So if if it's assigned to me, so this is already accepted. But let's say if it was assigned to me, then I also have the option of rejecting it, right? So if I reject it, request this CILT to be reassigned so that my supervisor can assign it to somebody who can actually execute the job, right? So I can hit the reject button, and then it'll reject it, and then it'll make it open, which will then make it available again for the supervisor to assign it to somebody. So it's rejected the status, you can see. So once it's rejected, then I can actually assign it again. So if I have the authorizations as a supervisor, I will be able to reassign it to somebody else. So that's also possible. Okay, so this is basically how the workflow is configured on the device itself. Now, we also have another section called faults and jobs, right? So if I go to the faults, basically it's the list of all the issues that the users noticed in the field. So the broken pipe notification or the fault number 4, which was created, is this, right? So we have this broken fault. And then the supervisor gets this fault on his device, and then he decides to create a job for somebody to go and address this problem in the field. So you have those 3 icons that you see on the top, right? So if this fault is not something serious and it's just a by mistake somebody created it, I can always close it by hitting the green flag. But if I feel that this notification needs further investigation and somebody needs to actually do some maintenance on it, then I can always use that blue icon to create a job for somebody to go and execute it. So I'm hitting that blue button to go and assign this job to someone, and I say yes. And then I get this form here, which will allow me to create a brief job description. So I'm going to say weld the pipes in place, and because it's broken pipe, so I just want to weld the pipes. The job type, I can change it to a normal maintenance job, and then I can set a priority. I can set it to a medium or a high, and then long text, I can give some instructions, some detailed instructions. I can type it, or I can just speak into the mic and then give them all the instructions. I can do that as well, so that's possible too. I give some long text, and then after that I assign it to somebody for them to execute it. So I hit the assign to, and then it brings up some people. So let's say I assign it to somebody else, assign it to Praveen for myself to execute it, and then I say okay. And then once that is done, I can just submit this job, right? So it's a new job, which is why you see new as the indicator, and the related fault is number 4. So the job start and end date have to be specified. I specify the end date, and then I say create a job. So once this job is created, I can add attachments if I want to. We just say, okay, submit the job. And this creates a job for somebody to execute. So this job, right, it's queued, right? What it means is it is even if you're in an offline mode, let's say you don't have connectivity and all the CILTs have been downloaded to your device, all the equipment master is on your device, you go about creating faults, creating jobs. even without connectivity, you can submit it. Whenever the app detects there's connectivity, it'll automatically synchronize it in the backend. So once it's synchronized, you have a proper job number, job 3, and then the user has been assigned. And you can go into the job, and then you can actually look at the job, who's assigned to, and you can actually complete the job as well if it's been assigned to you, right? So this job is assigned to Praveen, and then Praveen can do it. But as a supervisor, I can also complete the job on his behalf. So that's problem. That's not a problem. So now you say accept the job. No, that's for Praveen to execute. So I'm going to say no. Let's take another job which I have assigned to myself, and then I can just complete that job. So this job is already completed. Yeah, this one is assigned to me, Avinash. So I'm going to accept the job, yes. And then I can complete it. Complete the job, yes. And then I go to the status, it says queued, and then it's done, right? So so that's how simple it is for somebody to create a fault, for the supervisor to create a follow-up job, and for the technician to actually complete the job. So the user who's logged into the application is an administrator who has all the roles, so which is why I'm able to do everything. So if you have these roles configured properly for different technicians and supervisors, they will only be allowed to do what they can do in the system. And unlike jobs, unlike the CILT where you had a working window of 7 days, right? So you have -2 + 5. So that is the CILT window that we call it. You'll only see jobs in that data range, 23 to 25th. So that is the 7 working day week. And the window keeps moving as you progress within the day, right? But if you go to the fault and the job, it's a little differently organized, wherein we have a calendar, and today's date is what we show there. And if you hit the calendar, and you can actually see all the dates on which you have faults reported. Maybe in the past, you have some faults which are still open in your plant. You can still see them. Similarly, for jobs, you can actually get a summary of jobs. There are only 3 jobs for today, but maybe if you have jobs planned for the next week or the week after or the month after. So by just navigating through the calendar, you can actually see all the jobs that have been scheduled for you as a user. So this is basically how we have the CILT app structured. Okay, so before that, I just want to show you the list of assets, right? We have the function locations. We have about 31 locations in my plant. So all these locations are listed here. And then I also have the equipment. So if I go to the equipment tab, it'll show me all the equipment in my plant here. So we have a lot of assets. Now, in the CILT, you can report issues for an asset which is in the CILT, right? Now, what if you want to report an issue on any asset which is outside that CILT? So you can always come to this asset tab, and then you can choose the equipment that you're interested in, and then you can create a fault or a job for that particular asset. So that is also possible. So this is just to let you know that you can report issues on any asset in your plant outside of the CILT as well, independently. So we have history attachments, all of that you can see for the asset, right? You can install the app from the store. You can install it from the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. You can do it from both the places. It's a native application available both on Android and iOS. We will also make it available on Windows if you want to, not a problem. So this mobile part is something which is a native application available on these platforms. And the administration, the reporting is something which is browser-based application, which we will come to in the next part of the demo. So so this is the CILT, the dashboard, right? So we call the dashboard. Again, this dashboard is again configurable based on how you would like to see the information. So by default, we have the monthly dashboard selected. So when you get into the web application, by default, it'll show you the summary for the month of March. So in the month of March, we have 67 CILTs, 3 faults, and 2 jobs which have been reported. And then if you click on each one of these pie, right? So it'll actually show you the status of what it is, right? So you have open 53, you have completed 7 and assigned, all of that statuses you can get. Similarly, you have the faults, the number of faults in the month, 1, open, and all of that. Similarly, you have the jobs. You have the status, which says completed and assigned. And then if I roll down, you'll see a little more information about the fault, who's reported the fault. I think this demo landscape has very little information, which is why you're seeing that we have only one user who's reporting it. But if you had multiple users, you would see who are the people who are actually reporting it and who are the people who have been assigned those jobs. We have the total, the fault types. We have one U1, one U2, and one U3. And when it comes to the job types, you have job type U001, U003, one each. So in this month, right? So you have this kind of a statistic. But then if you want a little more detailed insights, you can actually go into the reporting part, wherein if you go to the reports, so this is basically all the jobs that you have completed in the system, right? So you have the pump maintenance, the shifts in which it was executed, when was it executed, who executed it, the total number of tasks completed, skipped. I think we have some glitch in the demo landscape, which is why you're not seeing the counts against the CILT tasks and skipped. However, yeah, so you can see all of these different CILTs, the areas in which these CILTs were created, and all these different numbers, right? So this is the CILT. Similarly, you can go to the faults tab, and then if you go to the faults tab, it'll ask you for a date range. You can select between these dates, between the 1st of March and the 31st of March. We can apply, and then we can choose by priority, by fault type, and all of that. And it gives you a list of all the faults. What is the priority? What is the asset on which it was created? Who created it? And what is the status? So that summary you can get. So broken pipe is what we have here. And similarly for the jobs, right? So you can go to the job, and then you can, again, you can select a date range, and you can apply it 31st, yeah, and apply this, and then it shows you all the jobs. So this is the job that we just created, pipe number, job number 3, weld the pipes in place. So that is what is listed out here. So we can also do the details of the jobs. We can do the details of the faults. We can do the details of the CILT, and whatever we filled on the mobile device, right? The same thing can also be displayed on the mobile app, on the web browser for you to consume that. So that's again configuration which we can enable. So this is just a list of the report. If you also want to see the details, we can enable the details. The details is not enabled here, but we can also display the details for you. So this is basically how the reporting works. So you can have a bunch of selection criteria. So if I go to the filters again, so let's say the fault filters or the job filters. So these are the different ranges. You can select jobs by job types. You can select jobs by asset or location, plant sections. So you can generate customized lists of reports, which you can also export it subsequently for your consumption, or send it to somebody, right? You can do that. Again, reporting, however you would like to have this information represented to you, we can configure it like that. So this is just the basic reporting. But if you want to have some trends that you would like to see, some additional charts that you would like to see, all that is configuration, and then we can do it exactly based on your requirements, and then we can put it on the dashboard. The next part is the configuration part, right? I'll just walk through the configuration a little bit, because what happens is not everybody has an ERP system, right? But they would like to still build a structure of the plant, the locations and the assets. So which is why we have the data management and master data. So if you click on master data, then what it brings up is the list of all the plants that you have in your company. So we have 3 plants here, and within plants, we also have the second tab where you can define multiple plant sections. In the second tab, we have the plant sections, wherein within each plant, you can actually decide what sections you can have, just to organize the CILT, the planning and everything, right? We enable you to define the structure yourself, right? In the absence of, an ERP system. So the next thing is the shift, right? So we can configure shifts. So we have the plant 1000, in which we have 3 shifts, day, afternoon, and night shifts. You can configure the start times and the end times for the shift. You can always create new plants, new sections and shifts by hitting the create shift button, and then you can enter all these details, and then you can enter it. So then next thing is you have a plant structure. So if you go to the 4th tab, so there's a plant structure. So the plant structure gives you a list of all the locations that you've created in the system. And then you have, this is a list view. You have the location, then you have the asset. So the assets, again, you have the list view, you have the list of all the assets within your company. You can activate them, deactivate them. You can also, update the longitudes and latitudes. If you want a map-based navigation, that's possible. You can update documents that you want to store against your equipment, which can be downloaded to your device. Stuff like the maintenance manuals and all that, right? You can, update it against the asset and have it downloaded to the user's device. So this plant structure, again, we'll come to the DMS also. Document management system, I'll show that you a little more in detail, but you can attach documents to the asset, right? So I cancel this. I don't create any assets, but I'll show you the hierarchical view, right? So this is a list view. So you can also view the same information in a hierarchical view. So we also have measurement points. I'll come to that later, but so we'll go to the tree view. In the tree view, you can also see the complete structure, right? So we have plant. If I expand that node, it's going to show me all the substructures, production area, maintenance area, and all of that. And you can expand that a little more, and then you'll see all the sub areas within that. And within each sub area, assembly line 1, 2, 3, you can have the assets organized, right? So you can create all those different assets. So you can organize your complete structure like this. So you can build this tree from scratch, which is hitting the plus button, creating an asset, plus button, creating an asset, structure and all that. Or you can just do a bulk upload, right? So we support the ability to, bulk upload. We have a bulk upload template that you can download. So if I show you the options for the download templates, so it'll show you 3 templates. You can download a CSV file for uploading location, assets, and KPI. And then when I go to the upload, you can just upload those Excel sheets, and then it'll create the complete asset structure for you, right? So you can just do your simple Excel math, define your hierarchy, and then just come here and then upload your complete enterprise structure, and you're good to go, right? So you just have to define the plants and the structures before that, plants and the plant sections, and after that you can upload your complete hierarchy like this. And then so we have the measuring points, right? So let me just touch upon the measuring points. Back to the list view. So in the measuring points, we can also have some qualitative and quantitative measurements that you can capture in your inspection process. So this is not for the CILT, but for the inspection process, wherein you can have a qualitative, a quantitative, high, good, bad, ugly, or counters, odometer readings which count up, or some meters which count down. You can have those kind of counter readings. And then quantitative, you can have a range. We can say that acceptable range for a certain reading that you take in the field, right? So you can do all of that information, and you can define KPIs. And these KPIs can be associated with your assets, which you can then use in inspections. So that's possible too, right? So this is basically a master data. So once the master data is done, what I do is we have to define the CILT, right? So let's look at the work plan. In the planning, I'll show you the major components of this browser, basically. So you have different CILT plans that you can create, right? So let's just look at one of the plans that we have already created, which is the HUD pump maintenance, for example, right? So I can edit the plan or view the plan. So if I edit the plan, then it shows me the details of what this CILT is all about. And then here we talked about the standard CILT process, right? Where you have the best practice and all these different sections that you have mentioned. So we have enabled all these sections. But if you feel that you do not want to use a certain section, you can just go and say switch it off. You can just hit the toggle, and that section will go missing, right, from that CILT that you're creating. So I will not update this one. But when I create a new plan, I'll show you how this works. But I'll just show you what this CILT looks like. So it's a wizard-based creations process. If I go to the next screen, then it'll actually show me all the different sections that I have in this particular CILT. So I have a mechanical section with all these tasks. Then I have a hydraulic section with all these tasks and a pneumatic area, right? So we have 3 sections in this particular CILT plan. And I can define new sections. And then I can, define new tasks within each section. I can do that. So I can add a section. I'll show it to you in a new CILT plan, but this is how you can just do it here, right? I can delete the section and add new ones. And if the next step is to create documents and attach it to the CILT plan. I can go next, and then it shows me if there's a basic safety manual or a basic electric hand manual, which I would like the users to have reference to when executing the CILT. I can do that. And the final step is, to save this CILT and then publish it, right? I can do that. So this gives me a summary of the number of technical objects, number of tasks and sections and all of that. And the total duration to complete this CILT is about 3 hours, 10 minutes. So this is the summary of how a CILT looks like at this point in time. So I'm just going to go back and I'm not going to save. I can save it as a draft if I want to with the changes, but since this is a plan that I've already scheduled, I'm not going to be doing that. But let's say I create a new plan in the CILT. When I create a new CILT plan, so I can give a CILT plan name. Let's say weekly maintenance or something like a weekly CILT, just for the lack of anything else. So the plan section. So whatever you're doing is in the current plan that is selected. So I'm going to say I'm going to do something in the maintenance area. So I have a rich text editor here. I can give some detailed descriptions of what needs to be taken into consideration when performing the CILT. I can do that. So let's say I say task 1 or maybe observation 1, observation 2, and make it a bulleted text. I can do that, or I can highlight it, bold it. I can do all of that stuff. So let's say, let's just say, where PPE, right? And then a PPE kit. So, and then I'm going to say, make it a bulleted text. So this is something which the user can, so, right. So I can make it bold and all of that stuff. So this is a rich text, editor. And whatever you do here will be visible to the user on the mobile device as well. Once that is done, I select an asset or a location, which is a primary area for the CILT to be performed. I can choose a location or I can choose an asset. So I can say it's a maintenance area. So I just say it's a maintenance area location. I'm going to select that. And then station 1. And once I'm happy with that, I just do a save. So this CILT is for station 1. And then what I do is I say that, look, I do not want all these sections in my CILT. I just want maybe method and tool. So I'm going to uncheck the machine part. I'm going to uncheck the standard. I'm just going to keep the method, tool, and the time, right? And then I'll go to the next section. So when I go to the next section, then this is where I start defining my section. I can say section 1. I can say add a task. I can give a description for the section if I want to, but I can always, add a task here. So I can say, so here in the CILT, I'm going to decide what kind of activity it is. If it's a cleaning activity, I can hit the C, which will enable that. Then if I want to do a lubricating, I'll just hit the L, and then that highlights that. And then I can enter an activity description. Activity description can be whatever, clean the workstation. And then the method can be use standard operating procedure. And then tools, I can say use a brush or a cleaning cloth or something like that. I can just give those details. And then I can, give it some time. So let's say 10 minutes or 5 minutes or something like that. And then if I want to, I can change the unit of measure. And then 30 seconds, maybe 5 seconds or whatever, right? So it's just a unit of measure. And then I can add these attachments, right? So these attachments, when I define a CILT, these attachments are organized in my document management system. So when I hit the attachments, it's going to show my document management system wherein all these files are stored so that I don't have to keep going to each CILT and then keep updating those manuals each time there's a change, right? So I maintain it in my DMS where the documents can be versioned and then the lifecycle of the documents are maintained there. And I just establish a link to the DMS in my CILT, and let's say maintenance handbook, and I say save, and that's it. So the users will be able to access this document when they're performing their CILT on the mobile device. So I'm going to save this particular task. And then I can add multiple tasks like these. I can add task 1, task 2. So this it just keeps going on. Similarly, I can add a new section. If I want to add a new section, I'm going to say another one. I can change the description. I can say a mob, equipment maintenance or something like that. Um, and then I can add more tasks under that, right? So I can create sections, I can create tasks. So again, it's a cleaning task, just a cleaning task, and I'm just going to say, put some dummy text there just to quickly close this thing. So I can say clean, clean, clean. And then I'm just going to give it a small duration, maybe a 1 minute, and then I'm going to close this. So I'm done. So next I go to the next part, and then if I want documents, I can attach more documents. That was at the task level. This is at the header level, right? So there are two levels at which you can attach documents. You can attach documents for a specific task, or you can attach documents for the CILT as a whole, right? So that option is also available. So let's say at the header level, I attach a basic safety manual, right? So that's something which is common for everyone. I just say attach it at the header level. I save, and then I go to the next step, and then I'm ready to publish this plan, right? So this is a summary of my CILT. Once I'm happy with it, I just save it and I publish it. So once we have created this particular weekly CILT, it's released now. And once this CILT is released, it is available for me to schedule it, right? So this was the planning part. So now I go to the browser and then I say schedule. And this is where it gets a little interesting, wherein I select the CILT plan and then say schedule. When I hit schedule, it brings me to the screen wherein I can define the frequency with which I want to execute these CILTs, right? The frequency can be daily, weekly, monthly, or it can be fixed by date. So these are the two high-level options. So I'm going to choose frequency. Frequency, let's say I want to repeat this on a daily basis. So I say repeat schedule is 1. And then I say schedule by day. So every 1 day, this schedule is going to repeat. Start day, I can say maybe it's today, starting from today. Let's do this. And then end, I can say end on a specific date, or I can say end after certain occurrences, right? So I'm going to say end after occurrences. So this is the end. So I can say end after 10 occurrences. So I'm going to have a daily CILT for the next 10 days starting from today. Then I can say which shifts this shift needs to be done in. So I can say day shift and night shift only. I do not want to do anything in the afternoon shift. So when I start my day, I want to do some cleaning. When I end my day, I want to do some more cleaning, right? And then for each shift, it brings me the slots. So we define the shifts in the previous step, right? I can say that this job needs to be performed at the 7 o'clock, 7th hour in the morning for the next, or maybe in a duration between 7 and 8 for 2 hours, 7 to 9, I can extend that slot and say that that CILT has to be performed within that slot there. So I can define one slot where it needs to be done, or I can say that this particular CILT needs to be executed multiple times within the same shift, right? I can create one more slot. So I can say, okay, even at 12, I want you to perform this slot. I can do that, right? So 11 to 12, I pick one more slot, or 12 to 1, I pick one more slot, and then we have 2 CILTs which will be created. Similarly, for the night shift, I can maybe say maybe one slot, right? I would want this CILT to be performed somewhere, at beginning of the night, right? 11 p.m. I can create a slot and then leave it at that. And then the plant assignment, of course, we have the plant assignment, which is to the single plant. So we have this plant selection. So the assignment happens at the plant level. We don't support the we can also support the other assignments, but plant selection, we support it at 1000. We can assign it to the plant. And then, yeah, so we can say horizon. So what this does is it creates the schedules 1 day in the future as what it is right now, or I can say create these schedules for 10 days in the future, right? So that's what batch rounds means. The horizon is all the CILTs will be automatically generated by a batch job for the next 10 days, which is why you would see those jobs in the CILT plan on the device in the future, right? So you can select a priority, assign the priority to this particular CILT. You can say it's a high priority, and then you can create a schedule, right? So that's how you create a schedule, and you're done. So skills, this weekly CILT, that's how simple it is for you to, define a CILT plan, schedule it, and then release it. So once this is done, when the batch job runs every night, you will have all these different CILTs created, and they will be distributed to all the people in that particular plant based on their roles, and they will be able to execute those actions, right? And we have more actions there. So when you hit the CILT, you can also do some, create ad hoc CILTs. So if you want to create ad hoc CILT out of, the plan, you can always come here from the web and you can create an ad hoc CILT. The advantage of doing the ad hoc CILT from the browser is that you can do this for any shift in the future. Whereas in the device, you can only create it for the shift that you're actually working in, right? So here the supervisor can create the ad hoc CILT maybe for a holiday because the CILTs are not created on a holiday on a schedule. You want to create a particular cleaning activity on a specific holiday, you can always select that particular date. You can select a shift, and then you can create an ad hoc CILT, right? So that's possible. So let's say a day shift, start at 7 and end at 3, assign a priority, and then you assign it to a particular user, right? And then you say create. So that's how easy it is for you to plan and schedule a CILT. So we have the dashboard, we did the reporting, we did the shift summary. That is again more level of reporting. We did the planning, we did the plan assignment, we did the scheduling. We can also do the assignment part. The browser will come to that. That's again more detail. Document management system, I'll just go there quickly. So if I go to the document management system, this is where you can create your folder structure. You can create multiple folders. So this is the DMS, which is the root structure. If I expand it, you see all the different folders that you can have. And then within each folder, I can create documents. So this is how you maintain your documents. Then if I go back again, if I go back to the menu, so if I go back to the configuration, so you have customizations. In customizations, you can configure all your priorities, the failure modes, the fault types, and all of those different configurations based on your requirements, right? You can configure it, and then the application will do it accordingly, right? Display it accordingly. And finally, the user management. So if I go to the menu, and then if I go to the last part, which is the user control, so you can maintain the list of all your users. You can maintain teams so that you can organize it better. You can create users, assign them plants, assign them teams, sections, all of these details. And you also have the team. You can have teams of users and you can maintain them. So this is basically how you do the configuration in the browser.